Hey guys, and welcome to Tnashi's Movie Corner. So, I only have one review for you this week. Have been really swamped with work and everything, so I'm trying to get some free time, and this weekend is not really going to help that. So, we will see what I can get done. I may work on some things tomorrow if I have time, but I'm going to try to do more. But this month has been really busy, so. I wanted to go ahead and bring you, though, one movie review. If I could only do one this week, I had to make sure I saw this movie and did this. And that is Anthropod, which came out last year, 2 hour movie. I think a little over, but about a 2 hour movie. Directed and written by Sean Ellis. And another writer was Anthony Freeman. And stars Jamie Dornan, Sylvian Murphy, Brian Caspe, just for some of it. So I'm just gonna give you the brief synopsis of it, and I'm not gonna go into too much detail if I can about the movie, and I'll get to why in a second. But this is based on the true story of Operation Anthropoid. Anthropod? I'm probably saying that wrong. Am I saying that wrong? The World War II mission to assassinate the SS General Reinhard Heydrich, the main architect behind the final solution and the Reich's third in command after Hitler and Himmler. Okay, so again, might have said some of that wrong. Look, I'm not good at speaking, okay? I'm not good. But you're a movie reviewer. Okay, you know what? Shut up, man. I'm sorry if I got any names wrong or anything like that, but the point is this is based off of a true story. I have not heard actually about this mission and everything like that. I hadn't heard anything about it, and I did not do any research going into it. I went into it mostly blind. I knew it was going to be kind of a darker toned movie in a way, not really darker, somber tone to the movie in a way. So I knew there was going to be some things in here that would probably not be for the faint of heart, and there is certainly. But I want to say this movie came out last year, and I already did my top 10 list of the year. This easily goes in my top 10. I don't know what all it kicks up. It's in the top 5. I'm not. It might even be, really up there. I have to let it settle a bit more, having just come off this movie. I loved this movie. This was such a well done film, from kind of the characters, the way the music, the violin music is used at different points. There's some things that are hinted at earlier on, or at least somewhat presented, and then come back near the end of the movie, which I thought was good. As a film itself, it's a very beautiful and compelling film. It does have a bit of a slow start, but I almost wouldn't even say that, because that almost gives a negative connotation to it, and I think you had to have the setup for sure, the kind of build up, the interaction of the characters, how things are working out, the mission itself, and where they're trying to ultimately lead. So I found everything it was so captivating for me. It just held my attention the entire way through. I even had subtitles on because there is some accents in it. If you're trying to distinguish, even though I was able to, I wanted to make sure I picked up every bit and piece of dialogue that I could. So I had the subtitles on, and with some films, honestly, with films in general, I don't typically love looking at subtitles because it takes the focus off the action that's actually happening in the film itself. At least for me, it's hard to concentrate on one and the other, but this worked. Like, I did not care at all. I wanted to get every bit of it, and so and I thought some of the accents themselves were a little interesting, but I really enjoyed this movie. I mean, again, it does have kind of a slower build up as far as an actually action oriented film goes. You know, it has those softer moments to it, but they are character building moments. There are, you know, fleshing out the actual plan and how things going to be executed. So, and I'm probably going to say his name wrong, even though I'm a huge fan of his, and I've already said it before, but Cillian Murphy, who's been in 28 Days Later, he was in Inception, he was in the Batman movies, he's in Peaky Blinders. Like, I love his acting. I think he's almost one of the most underrated actors out there because he really brings a lot to the characters that he portrays, and this is no exception to that at all. Like, he has such a good performance in this film. It's really captivating, especially there's a scene in particular that he goes through a range of emotions, more than one scene, but one scene that really stood out, and I just think he just really I don't know, he just really excels for me. He always works for me. And then you have Jamie Dornan, who I was a little skeptical of when I first saw him, because he was in 50 Shades of Grey as Christian Grey. And honestly, that film left a bad taste in my mouth, so I wasn't sure what to expect here. But again, delivers. Like, there's some, you know, kind of romance in this film as well, and I think that's worked. There's a few small laughters, like humor moments here or there, but obviously it's not like the highlight of the film, nor it should be. So they just kind of stand out separate. Again, the music is absolutely wonderful. I highly enjoyed the music in it. The color palette too, being kind of the darker color. Everything's not bright and illustrated. It really fits with the time and what they're trying to portray in the story. So I'm not trying to give away anything, or not that much, but this, seriously, I did not know what to expect with this movie. I didn't know much of anything about it. I highly recommend you go and check this movie out. And you see what by the pictures and everything. I don't even want to give anything away there, because I think if you go in, I think you'll enjoy it either way, but I would suggest going in as blind as you can if you haven't seen it yet, and just enjoy this movie. I'm so glad I bought this movie. You know, it is one of those movies that'll really hit you. There are moments that'll really hit you. So, you know, bear that in mind, but certainly don't dismiss it for that. It's just a really it's a really good film, and it makes me want to go and do my research and look more into this, because if this was, I don't know how accurate it was, but if it was remotely as accurate as it portrays in the film, then that is definitely some interesting history, and some sad history overall, being with World War II, you know. So I already knew a little aspects of that, but to get this specific mission and everything, it was really, really neat to see. So giving it a rating 1 through 10. If you're not already guessing, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 10 out of 10. There were just small little nitpicks here or there, and that's what they are. They're nitpicks. So for me, I like the film so much. It connected with me so much, and really just held my attention. That 2 hours went by like nothing. That I couldn't give it any lower than a 10 out of 10. So it's certainly up in my top 5 of last year. I don't know what the rating would be. Again, fresh off of seeing it, I'd have to let it settle, but there's no way it wouldn't be in the top 5, and I'm so glad I saw this film. So I recommend you guys go and check this film out. It's a really good film. So I want to thank my Patreon supporter for recommending this movie for me, requesting that I see it. I'm so glad I saw this one. You know, and it's not always the case with some movies, so I'm really glad that I enjoyed this one as much as I did. And that being said, you know, if you couldn't tell before, I'm a little limited on what movies I can see, but there's at least one movie a month that you guys would want to recommend I go see in theaters, go and let me know in the comments below of what movie that would be. Also, if because I mentioned it, I am on Patreon. So that is the thing. If you want to go and check out, you will see some of my reviews early. Well, they'll be up on Patreon, hours early, days early, weeks early, even. As low as $1 a month really helps me to be able to do any of this stuff. So I really appreciate anyone, and I certainly appreciate my Patreon supporter that I do have for for supporting me through these months and for recommending these films to me. It just gives me exposure to a lot of these films that I might not have known about otherwise. So that's absolutely awesome. And if I get enough people, I'll do polls and everything on there, maybe on voting for some movies or what your favorite stuff is and things like that. So there's all these different ideas that I could try out if I get enough support. So that would be awesome. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this vid. And if so, click that like button, share, subscribe to my channel, and watch my other vids. I do appreciate it. And until next time, peace.